Hey, and welcome to episode 7 of The Blind Life. Today, we're going to be talking about living life blind and staying positive, and things not getting you down and cracking on. So, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday and was sort of giving them some pointers on how to live life blind and some of the do's and don'ts. And I think it's so easy to stop doing things because you can't see. And people will always say, you can't do that because you're blind. You can't do that because you're visually impaired. And it frustrates me because people should be saying, how can we do that because you're blind? How can we do that because you're visually impaired? And what I said to my little friend Molly yesterday was, is that people are not going to make life easy for you. So you have to be confident as a visually impaired or a blind person to go out there and do things for yourself, because people are not going to make it easy. It is far too easy for people to say you can't do that than to adapt to situations. And people out there will try, but the majority of people will put an obstacle in your way. And this channel was supposed to be about education for people. And one of the things that I absolutely hate is this I call it the blind bubble. And it's a lot of, agencies and services for blind people that promote you going to the same places all the time. So, they'll put on basket making or a computer course, or, we'll arrange a trip to go to a rec convention. And I can't think of anything worse. Nothing worse at all. And it's this blind bubble that people get into and sort of hang around with blind people and do things with blind people, and that's great as a support network, but it shouldn't be your life. As a blind person, one of my philosophies is that just because we can't see the world does not mean that we can't participate in it. And it absolutely infuriates me that we don't do enough to encourage visually impaired and blind people to sort of just crack on and get on with it. And I think my situation especially is very different, because my friends, when I got diagnosed, obviously I was a table tennis player, and we went away for the weekend and was kind of like, is this going to stop me, or am I going to quit everything and be a blind person? And me and my friends were like, absolutely not, we'll just crack on as normal and sort of change things as and when it comes to it. And I've adapted that since I was diagnosed with Stargardt's. And I think it's so important to always keep a positive mind and always look at every situation. I know so many people that will look at a situation and go, oh, my life's so bad, everything goes wrong. And I look at them people and just think, you know what, if you could just look positively at your situation, you would be in a totally different place. And I think it's so important, especially when you're visually impaired or you're blind, to always keep on that positive and always be sort of thinking, if you know that things are going to come up and they're going to be difficult, plan for when that happens and how you can get around it and how you can do it. And, an example is that I was working with an organisation, and we were me and my son were going to Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and we were on a train, and I heard all these voices that I recognised, and it was people from the group that I'd been working with. And I went over to him and were like, oh, what are you guys doing on the train? And they were all saying, oh, we're going to the rec convention. And I was like, what's that? So they said, oh, we speak to blind people, other blind people, and we learn about blind conditions, and it's just a weekend of meeting other blind people. And I was like, I cannot think of anything worse than that. And then they said, like, where are you going? And I said, I'm taking Connor to the Pleasure Beach. And they were like absolutely astonished that I'd gotten a train by myself from Manchester to Blackpool, and we were going to the Pleasure Beach on our own, like unassisted by people. And like that for me was really difficult, like to see people of my age that are not confident enough to like go out and get a bus on their own. And I know a lot of visually impaired and blind people do get out there and they are doing it, but there's still a massive percentage that are in this blind bubble and will not do anything other than like blind activities. And if I can encourage people to go out and do something different other than what's in a blind group, then, you know, go out and live life. It's not all about talking to other people that are blind. You're all the same. You all can't see. Like, I don't understand why you'd want to sit in a room for a weekend and speak to other people about not seeing, or, you know, find out more about your condition. You should be out there living life. Like, crack on with it. We can all know as much information as we can about our conditions. It doesn't change anything. It does not change anything. So I basically wanted to do this to sort of encourage people to just like crack on and get on with life and do things. And I'm going to put like a short video in and with the song This Is Me, because everyone keeps telling me like, oh, when I hear this song it reminds me of you, and that is my attitude. Like, you know, like this is me. What you see is what you get. Like, I don't let my blindness stop me. I just crack on. Like, other people, you go out and do that too. You know, we can only put our own obstacles in front of us, and it's up to us to remove obstacles. It's up to us to carry on. It's up to us to get as much out of life as we possibly can. And if I can encourage some of you guys to do that, then, you know, job done. I feel absolutely great. But anyway, this is me. Thanks for listening, and I hope it makes you go out and do something. Right.
I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. For